What happens when two powerful teams, the Ultimates and a future iteration of the Guardians of the Galaxy, collide over the destiny of their future? The Ultimates find themselves in an incredibly delicate situation as they brace for the inevitable return of the Maker. At the same time, they're struggling to endure and make it to the moment when they must confront him. Their position has only grown more dire following the events of Issue 6, where Iron Lad was seemingly killed. So how could things possibly get any more tangled? If you think they can't, you might be new to this series. Without further delay, let's dive right in. This month's story follows the Ultimates, now without Doom and Iron Lad, embarking on a journey through time. With a Doombot acting as their aide, they venture to a remote cornfield to investigate a temporal disturbance Doom identified just a few hours earlier. Meanwhile, a time-traveling ship is shown traversing what appears to be a wormhole, perhaps the Superflow, counting down the years until it reaches its destination, hinting at its mission to rescue America Chavez. The Ultimates suddenly witnesses the rough arrival of this time-traveling vessel. The ship reveals its passengers to be the Guardians of the Galaxy from the distant 61st century. But this is definitely not the Guardians team you've come to know. This future iteration of the Guardians has arrived to save America Chavez, who was one of their own until recently, when the Maker's grand scheme unraveled time itself, cascading forward like a cosmic tidal wave. But Chavez has no memory of them at all. With the Guardians taking an aggressively determined approach to retrieve Chavez, tensions rapidly escalate into an all-out clash between the two teams. This futuristic Guardians roster includes Star-Lord, the Master of the Solar System, Lord of the 12 Houses, and ruler of the lands beyond the sun, now equipped with a massive power upgrade. He wields mystical reality-warping abilities so advanced that even the Ultimates admit they lack the words to define them. Another standout is Ultimate Nullifier, a hyper-genius scientist whose technology is potent enough to obliterate Mephisto with a single precise strike to the heart. He makes his strength clear when he effortlessly immobilizes a charging She-Hulk with a single shot from the Nullifier. Cosmo Starstalker, affectionately dubbed the Ultimate Good Boy, is a psychic powerhouse, and the last surviving dog after all canines transcended to a higher plane of existence. Rounding out the team is Captain Marvel, who wields the formidable Omnibands and bears a striking resemblance to Nebula rather than the familiar Carol Danvers. Meanwhile, the Guardians easily overpower the Ultimates, showcasing their vastly superior abilities and emphasizing just how outmatched the Ultimates truly are. Throughout the battle, Captain Marvel openly mocks and belittles Chavez's allies, the Ultimates. Starstalker attempts to delve into Chavez's mind using his psychic powers to recover her memories, but fails, as it seems the Maker severed her past entirely during her imprisonment and experiments. As Starstalker maintains the psychic link, Chavez snaps, unleashing a massive energy blast that sends everyone hurtling into the air before crashing back down. In the aftermath, Starstalker apologizes for probing Chavez's mind without her consent. However, he also shares a disturbing revelation with the Ultimates, showing them their shared vision of a smiling Hulk standing over their annihilated team. Star-Lord somehow establishes a connection with a remote Doom, leaving the latter visibly caught off guard. He warns of a dangerous secret tied to Doom, then disables the Ultimate space station's communication, surveillance, transportation, and weapon systems. He delivers an ominous message to Doom, foretelling that either Iron Lad or Doom himself will be responsible for unimaginable suffering and the deaths of trillions, while the other holds the key to saving everyone. In a poignant moment, Captain Marvel shares her memories with America Chavez, revealing the deep bond they once had and the incredible adventures they experienced together. Captain Marvel recounts their extraordinary accomplishments, including an era in the future where 250,000 Super Guardians protected over 400 million inhabited worlds. However, a devastating temporal catastrophe required their most skilled Guardians to travel back in time to investigate. Only one returned, delivering an ominous warning to all: the Unmaker, we are unmade. The greatest minds of the 61st century convened in desperation, searching for a way to survive as creation itself began erasing them from existence. Their final solution was to construct a ship to flee from creation entirely. But creation pursued them relentlessly, sending its armies after the ship. The Guardians, led by Molecule Boy, Starbrand, Captain Universe, and someone named Gary, wielding the Infinity Gauntlet, fought to keep the vessel intact, preserving a present with no past or future. Carol painfully recounts the collapse of a universe in fragmented, haunting memories. She describes how Xandar the Bright Mind, consumed by grief, erupted into a nova before collapsing into a black hole. She emotionally recalls the futile efforts of the 10 billion descendants of Banner, the inhabitants of the so-called planet Hulk, as they tried to hold back reality itself with their bare hands. She speaks of the grotesque, bloated corpse of Galactus the Lifebringer, drifting through space like a decaying rogue planet, its insides infested with unspeakable horrors. As the 61st century crumbled, a decision was made. The ship would travel back to whatever reality replaced theirs. However, the resulting collision claimed the lives of countless Centillions. Captain Marvel and America Chavez were among the few survivors, with Captain Marvel crash landing in the Stone Age. Against all odds, she built another ship, found other survivors, and with the help of Cosmo, who picked up Chavez's trace 5,000 years into the future, began piecing a new mission together. She pleads with America Chavez to rejoin their team, hoping to undo the Unmaker's devastation and restore their universe. Ultimately, America decides to stay behind, choosing to fight alongside her new allies, the Ultimates. Captain Marvel warns Chavez that the Ultimates' efforts to preserve the future are doomed to fail. Despite the warning, Chavez remains steadfast in her decision, while the Guardians of the Galaxy from the 61st century depart to search for the remaining members of their team, still lost in time. Before leaving, Captain Marvel leaves a small but significant parting gift, a temporal flare device for Chavez, hinting that the Guardians may one day return when they are most needed. This certainly leaves the door open to the possibility of these powerful Guardians of the Galaxy teaming with the Ultimates and an expansive list of superheroes in a multiversal fight against the Maker.